Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So tonight, SBF opens up and says, could be worse. And he explains his cryptic tweets. What's that about? Also, of course, more damning news coming out of this whole saga, Alameda research, and I'll get to all that. And unfortunately, Solana, the foundation, has revealed what their exposure is, and it's quite significant. So let's talk about all these things, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Right now, Bitcoin coming up a little bit. That's encouraging. But what's not is SBF. SBF talks to New York Times. Actually, this to me seemed like a pretty weak interview, right? And you know what? He's a little boastful also. You know, he was asked how he's doing. And he's like, yeah, surprisingly calm. You would have thought that I'd be getting no sleep right now, but instead I'm getting some. And then he's also saying that he's playing video games. So he's saying it could be worse. So yeah, I you know what? Instead of showing remorse, instead of saying, I'm sorry it happened, right? He's saying, yeah, I'm doing just fine. I'm doing just fine. And then he said something like this: the venture stuff was probably really not worth it, given the attention it took. So rather than say, well, I made a mistake of maybe letting Caroline run things, or I made a mistake giving user assets to cover my tracks, you know, saying, yeah, it probably wasn't worth it. I don't know. I don't know. Is he really a mastermind? Or was he just a puppet, you know? Like, man, how could someone be in so much trouble, not recognize it, and at least not try to plead his case, you know, saying that's a mistake or something, explain what happened, but no, he's telling everyone, man, I'm doing just fine. And that was, you know, that was more hassle than it was worth. You can only laugh at this. He was also asked why he's doing all these cryptic tweets. What? And then happen. I'm guessing he'll spell out happening. Whatever he's doing, right? Basically, he's saying he's just winging it. He's just so bored right now. Again, kind of like Do Kwon, you know? You know, like Do Kwon? You know, for a while, he stayed off of Twitter, and then he got back on and started just tweeting a whole bunch of nonsense because, like, I think the pressure is getting to him, and he's just so lonely. I think SBF is already feeling that. You know, there's a lot of things you could be doing or planning for or thinking about rather than do silly tweets like this that serves no purpose whatsoever. But that's not all. That's not all. And this is no surprise. Insider trading, yeah, of course it was happening. Alameda Research was front-running any FTX token listing. Why wouldn't they? They already knew which tokens were going to be listed. And whenever there's a token listed, of course, there's a pump. So, of course, Caroline of Alameda knew which tokens were going to be listed and, of course, bought a ton before they were listed. So, obviously, this is not legal. And this was the type of stuff that Alameda and FTX were doing. And we're just getting the tip of the iceberg. We're really getting the tip of the iceberg. We know that he's been accused of taking down Luna, Three Arrows Capital, everything else in between, accused of counter trading the entire market, now front loading, token listing. I mean, like, what else has he done? Maybe hack his own firm, because turns out Alameda moved about $89 million worth of crypto into a new wallet. This is just Alameda. This is not even talking about the FTX hack. So this is in addition to that 600 million that went missing. Well, no, or not really missing, but, that just kind of happened, right? Alameda has their own stash, 90 million worth, in a new wallet that hasn't been touched recently, right? So is this like Caroline's pot versus Sam's pot? I don't know. But that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money that has been moved. And keep in mind, this is all user assets, not their own assets. This is assets that should be given back to the users. But obviously, they were planning on fleeing. There was talks about them all going to Dubai, right? So I think this was their contingency. A lot of this was moved prior to them declaring bankruptcy, but even afterwards, they were still moving because the regulators probably didn't have any crypto knowledge, didn't know how to shut them down, right? So they still had access, and they were still moving things around, right? So now we got like 90 million that's out in a different wallet. But of course, the other exploit, the 600 or 400, whatever, right? People are still investigating, but they already know who it is. You know how stupid this insider is? So again, like, are these guys really masterminds, or they were just lucky? This is how Kraken found out. You know how Kraken recently said, we know who hacked FTX, right? Because FTX, whoever hacked, was dumb enough to send a large portion to Kraken. Here's the dumber thing. They were trying to transfer a whole bunch of TRX tokens, right? They were trying to transfer so much, they forgot they needed to leave some for gas fees. Because they were transferring so much, they needed about 500 TRX. And they didn't think for a second, hey, let's just not send everything. Let's just send everything minus 500 to be able to make the transaction. So they were so stupid that they're like, okay, I'm going to use my own personal account on Kraken to send to FTX account 500 TRX to pay for gas fees. But of course, when you use your own personal account and you've complied with KYC, Kraken knows exactly who you are. So this hacker that was trying to move hundreds of millions of dollars logged in his own account, sent 500 TRX to this other account in order to pay for gas fees to withdraw. That's how stupid this guy is. So, of course, Kraken knows who it is, and Kraken is already working with the authorities. It's guaranteed it's one of the four henchmen, right? SBF or Gary or Caroline or one other guy, Shanad, or I forgot his name, but it's obvious it's one of them. And either they were in a rush or they're just really stupid. I don't know, but that's just how stupid the guy was. He logged into his own personal account to send TRX to pay for gas fees. Just think about that for a second. Anyways, despite all this happening, and I don't know if Kevin O'Leary knew that this was happening, Kevin O'Leary opens up and says, you know what, I tried to save FTX. A day before bankruptcy, he got on a phone with SBF and said, hey, tell me how much you need. And SBF told him exactly $8 billion. $8 billion. He lost $8 billion of user assets. Okay, $8 billion. I don't even know how you do that. Probably did a lot of counter trading, and some of the counter trading with leverage probably screwed up. So Kevin O'Leary actually said he had a lot of wealth funds overseas that was interested, and they were willing to throw $8 billion towards FTX. But because he was afraid of Gary Gensler and how Gensler mentioned about there's more regulations, those foreign wealth funds pulled out. But imagine if he actually done this, not knowing what he was saving, right? Kevin O'Leary already looks bad because not only was he a spokesperson, he invested, right? But he has said some crazy things about how FTX was going to be the next big giant and whatever. Like, he just really went all out. Because he believed in it. A lot of us didn't know what was really going to happen, right? But look at everything that's coming out about how they've been insider trading and diverting funds and bringing down Luna and Three Arrows, all this stuff. I don't think he knew. And I think this actually really helped him, because had he been complicit, right, that would have been much, much, much worse, I would think. But anyways, yeah, so glad to see that this didn't happen. Okay, so bottom line is, man, this thing is just such a real mess right here. Real mess. And Solana. Solana finally decided to post what happened with their funds. You know, we know that FTX holds about $1 billion worth of SOL tokens. What about Solana themselves? Were they exposed? Well, unfortunately, yes. In terms of cash or cash equivalency, they had about 1 million on Solana, on FTX, okay? Which is 1% of their cash. So they're saying, okay, that's nothing. But still, 1 million is 1 million, right? So Solana Foundation, they're saying they have 100 million of cash. But unfortunately, they also had a lot of assets on FTX. Not sold, though, but a lot of other stuff like Serum tokens, some FTT tokens, also FTX stock. The FTX stock they'll probably get back. But the other ones, the FTT token obviously tanked to nothing. Serum tokens, at the time, it added up to about 200 million, a little bit under, like 190 something million. Right now, I think it dropped to only like 20 or 30 million, mostly because FTT tokens tanked like crazy, right? But still, that's their exposure. They lost about 190 million. I don't know what this means exactly for them, but it's not like they put all their SOL onto FTX, right? But FTX does hold a lot of SOL. But unfortunately, they do have some exposure, but I think we'll get past that. I think Solana will get past this, but it's good that they're transparent and did open us up, especially since there's so much FUD around Solana right now, right? But, it's good to be transparent. I think they're following the lead of some of the others that have been sharing their proof of reserves and stuff like that, right? Some of the other exchanges. So it's good overall, but not good that they lost a whole bunch. Binance, CZ. CZ did an AMA, little fired up because people were blaming him, saying, you know what, you caused FTX to go down. And CZ got a little ticked off, saying, hey, everyone should be responsible for their own decisions. Everyone should be responsible for their own tokens, right? You should be safeguarding your own crypto, not rely on exchanges to safeguard it for you. And that includes his own. So he actually, retweeted this Trust Wallet thing, basically saying, hey, go safeguard your own crypto, right? So right now, better to be safe than sorry. Better to be safe than sorry. Kaijawen, appreciate that. Appreciate it. Although I just butchered her name, I'm sorry about that. All right, so what else is going on? Well, surprisingly, out of the blue, Edward Snowden, bragging about his previous call, back in March of 2020, he said, this is the first time in a while I felt like buying Bitcoin. That drop was too much panic and too little reason. Well, had you bought it at that time, you would have made out pretty handsomely. And now he tweets again saying, hey, there's still a lot of trouble ahead, but for the first time in a while, I'm starting to feel the itch to scale back in. Interesting. So, seems like he's trying to call bottom. I just thought that was a little interesting that, he's saying it's a great buying opportunity right now. Maybe not the bottom, but great buying opportunity. And I do agree, especially when there's so much fear. Right now, the contagion seems to be limited. I got to say, like, after Luna and Three Arrows Capital, contagion was far-reaching, right? We had so many come down. But so far right now, FTX, we haven't seen really anyone else really come down other than BlockFi, which did come down. They did release something about how their assets are not there with FTX, but they have significant exposure. Not quite sure what that means, but the contagion has been limited so far. It does put a lot of question marks on companies like Voyager. Like, what are they going to do, right? Are they going to find another suitor? What is BlockFi going to do? But we haven't really seen any major projects right now come out and say, hey, we're struggling. We had a lot on FTX. So that's the good thing. So maybe the contagion is actually pretty contained. And if so, then we can, of course, rebuild from here. What else is there? I mean, in terms of other things that's happening right now on a global scale, or maybe not a global scale, U.S. scale, you still have the DXY coming down. That's also pretty positive for Bitcoin and crypto overall, for equities too. When the DXY starts coming down and it broke through this curve, right, that is very, very positive. Money is starting to flow out and into other assets like crypto, right, or it could be coming in crypto. You still have the exchange balances dropping like a rock right now because of all the fear, and that's good. People are learning to safeguard their own crypto, right? So this is fantastic. We want to see people learn how to safeguard in crypto, and it's fantastic because the less Bitcoin there is on exchanges, the better it is overall. So still very, very good. And I think I also had one more. I accidentally closed it, but I had another chart that showed whales buying and buying and buying and buying. I mean, the whale activity right now is insane and through the roof. So there's that as well. All right, outside of these things, I did want to give you guys an update on Crypto.com. I made a video this morning, right? According to Chris, withdrawal queue is down 98%. Some people were saying that, withdrawals were very slow, right? He's like, you know what? It's speeding up. We got a really good infrastructure. Don't worry about it. He also said withdrawals are being processed as usual. No FUD, please. So this morning I looked at their proof of funds, right? And it was hovering about 2.4 billion. Right before the stream, I'm gonna check 2.4 billion. Even though there were a lot of crypto taken off the exchange, but overall, their overall holdings are still significant. They're still doing okay right now. No bank run happening. So just want to give you guys an update on that. But of course, I'll stay on top of it for you guys. So that's also good, and that's pretty much it. We're getting a little traction right now. George effect in play, 16.8. Nothing to brag about, especially since we were at 21,000 just a few days ago. But baby steps. Again, if the contagion is small and people, get over the fear and come back in, you know what? Can make a good recovery afterwards. But right now, there's still a lot of uncertainty right now, a lot of fear, and we just got to get past it. All right, let's do some Q&A. All right, scrolling up. Oz, hey bud, what's up? Do not believe in Kyle O'Leary. Sam is a Fed, or he be in chains already. Well, he's in the Bahamas, so I'm not sure they work the same way as the U.S. I don't know, but he's saying could be worse. Not for the industry, for himself. He's still thinking about himself right now. Thinking crypto. Hey, welcome. Let's see. Scrolling. Dan, it's funny how SBF has so much soul when he has no soul himself. LOL. Well, now he technically doesn't have any soul because it's all locked. It's all locked up. Just received my pending withdrawal from BlockFi. That's great, Jay. I didn't know because I saw a letter saying that they were still halting withdrawals, but they say that they have plenty of assets. It's just that they have a significant exposure to FTX. I don't know what that means, but they're exploring all options. It's unfortunate because they were actually working on some kind of lending product that was actually approved by the SEC, according to them, but they're never going to see the light of day, or that product isn't anymore. What's the big deal about Prop 82? I haven't had a chance to look at it yet. But the last big thing was really the liquid staking and a few other things, but the liquid staking was the most significant. But I'll do more research into it for sure. The big. All have in common? I don't know. I don't even know the first guy. I know the second guy, third guy. I don't know about the first guy. Luke asked, do you feel a KYC is a threat to our security? It's a threat to our privacy. I don't know about security. I mean, in the case of, the hacker that tried to move funds out of Kraken, and that's an example of where KYC worked, right? But then again, if you did nothing wrong and, your funds got halted because of KYC, because the government's coming for you, well, that's a different story. So, I mean, it's kind of tough, right? Caroline, supposedly, she was in Hong Kong, so maybe she already made it to Dubai because the destination was Dubai for all of them. Hellcat, welcome. Trust wall is going up like crazy, probably because CZ keeps talking about it. That token really has no value at all, but I do see that it's been going up like crazy recently. But overall, that token really doesn't serve any purpose. Bankrupt FTX, YC, NFTs are going to be huge soon. I don't know if that's going to be the case. Do you still hold my soul bag? Yes, I do. And I regret holding it now. No, but I told you guys I'll just hold it. See what happens. And I held it and lost like 50% on it recently. Coinbase is safe. Yes, it gained over $2 billion in funds in the past week. Probably because of the exodus from FTX. George, my crypto asset safe in ITrustCapital. I had members ask me about that. As safe as it can be, but of course, you just don't know these days. But I had people call in, ask them. The good thing about ITrustCapital is they actually have a phone number you could call in. Unlike Coinbase, you're just submitting a ticket and you never know when it's going to get answered. So you could actually call them and they have verified, they have insurance. Everything is held in cold wallets with Coinbase and with Fireblocks, right? They don't lend it out. They don't play with leverage. They have no exposure to FTX, right? So they sound pretty safe right now. And I'm thinking because they are in the 401k IRA space, they're probably even more regulated. But I can't be so sure about that. But if you have questions, give them a call. Let's see. Rich buddy. That's a large super chat. No need for that, man. You've been supportive with all my channels and this one for a very long time. And you're a mod. I appreciate it, though. Really do. I got fudded out and put all my SOL in BTC just to be safe. What happened in that big liquidity unlock? Well, actually, it turns out half of the unlock was actually from the foundation. They wanted to move some SOL around, and they decided not to do anything with that. The rest of it was unlocked. Whether or not it's sold, I don't know. But there's still a lot waiting to be unlocked. But half of it was like from the foundation itself. Is SBF deleting his tweets now? Because he had all this nonsense up. No, I mean, it's still there. I think he just spelled like what's happening. Something like that. I don't know. I don't know what he's doing. He's probably losing his mind right now. Oh, another thing he confirmed in this interview is that he is no longer in a relationship with Caroline. So first of all, he confirmed they were in a relationship, and then he confirmed they're not in a relationship. Probably because she's like, adios, because I'm in Dubai and you're going to be going to jail. I don't know. I just made that up. But he did say that they're no longer in a relationship, if you guys care. A lot of people saying Gary Wang, who was one of the main guys at FTX, whether or not he's really Gary Gensler. I don't know. I don't know if that's legit or not. But there's a lot of talk about their chief compliance officer, the lawyer, who's trying to distance himself away from FTX. That guy has a really shady past. Something to do with this whole poker scandal, right? Like he used God mode before to see what the players were doing to help others cheat, and a lot of people speculating that he was doing the same thing, counter trading people. That's why liquidations were so high on FTX before, and I talked about it. I'm like, why is it like 80% liquidations on FTX, right? Like there has to be something to that. So that seems like his playbook. I don't know, but I saw an interview of that guy, and he did not sound like a mastermind too. It's funny how all these guys you think are like brilliant masterminds, and they don't really sound or look like it. So I don't know if it's just they are, or they're just horrible speakers, or what. I don't know. Michael Saylor's latest talk was really good. I didn't listen to it, Hellcat. All his talks are pretty good, but I hate to say they all like really the same. Go with Bitcoin. It's the only one. Stick with it. I don't care how much money I lose. I'm going to keep sticking with it, buying a DCA. I mean, if you heard one of his interviews, you heard them all. Skyrex had an attack. Thanks for them for admitting it. The APIs were not leaked by Binance. I don't even know what company that is. They seem like they're a DEXed. Yeah. Is there a comprehensive list of which token goes to what wallet? I'm always anxious when I transfer tokens from exchanges. No, I don't think you go find that. Okay, here's how you. This is what everyone should do, even if you're like an expert. If you're trying to transfer from wallet to wallet, always send a small amount first, then send the remaining amount. That's how you know for sure. Even if you're doing 2 wallets you have used all the time, even for me, if you want to send from, I don't know, like Binance to Ledger or vice versa, send a little amount, like $10 worth, $20 worth, See if it goes through. If it does, then send the remaining amount. Right? That's how you do it. So, yeah. So just be careful, right? Especially when you're sending large amounts. Like you're trying to send like 100K worth of ETH or 50K worth of Cardano or 20K worth of Sol, whatever it may be, right? It's scary to send. That's why you send $10 first or $20 first. See if it goes through, then send the remaining amount. So that's the best way. That's the best way to do it. How about those Boston Celtics? I have Jaylen Brown at my fantasy team, and he's doing pretty good. Lynn Alden did a great breakdown of FTX fiasco today. Well, I like to think I've been doing a good breakdown every day about the FTX scandal. Just my opinion. Check the market. Some stuff is up 25%. Well, Bitcoin's coming up a little bit. Some of the stuff, not trying to like downplay, the greens that we're seeing, but you got to keep in mind that we have fallen so much. So even though some of these projects are up 10%, like XRP, the people's currency is up 11%, but it's still down 18% for the week, right? So we're still far off from where we were just even a week ago, but it's good progress. I think this contagion, it seems like it's so far still early, limited, but if some time passed and it seems like the contagion has stopped spreading and it's limited, then definitely the confidence will come back and things could come back very fast. But right now, I do think a lot of fear out there. I mean, like today, for example, Solana is up 12%, great, but it's still down 50% for the week. But with that said, hey, hell of a time to be DCAing. A lot of you guys asked for low prices while we were going up. Here you go, right? On chart basis, a lot of these indicators like RSI has never been this low before. We're talking about historic lows right now. So if you're looking at a buying opportunity, this is one of those historic times. And here's also a good thing. Good thing and bad thing, depending on if you're a Bitcoin maxi or not. If you look on top here, Bitcoin dominance is 38.2%. And ETH is still holding relatively well at 18%. Again, it shows you that even though there's massive fear and there was a massive sell-off, right? People's confidence in altcoins are still very high. Unlike previous times, you go look at all previous bottoms. You could look at historic charts in here, historic times. And you go look at all the previous bottoms before, like 2018, 2015, 2020, all these bottoms. Bitcoin dominance was like 70% or higher because people were so fearful about alts, sold everything and went into Bitcoin. This time around, different. And I think that's a positive. It shows that the market is maturing. There's a lot more use cases for altcoins. So I think that's good overall. Just my opinion. How's that carnivore diet going? It's going, man. I'm gonna be honest. There's some days I just crave like, hey, I just want a salad. But I'm sticking it out. I think I have like 2.5 weeks or 2 weeks left. So far it's going good. It's just I wish there was a little bit more variety. That's all. But it was beyond. What I'm doing is beyond to just like eating fats and meats. I also cut out all sugar, cut out all sodas, including Diet Coke, which I was addicted to for like 20 plus years, and cut out alcohol as well. So there was a lot that's going into this. Can you send crypto from your Trust wallet to your Ledger? Of course. Any wallet could be sent. As long as they're compatible with each other, the same chain, you're good. It sounds miserable. Well, that's how you get a cleanse, you know? Get all rid of all the bad. Is Sol dead? I don't think it's dead, but they did say they had some exposure, about $200 million worth, which now is dropped down to about $20 or $30 million worth, but still, nevertheless, is an exposure. I don't know what that means, like how much of it, the percentage of it in terms of how much they actually hold, but they got hit a little bit. But luckily, none of it is Sol. It's just, FTT tokens, stock, and Serum tokens. Carbs. Try it. I had a little sip the other day, and now I could taste the NutraSweet. Before, that NutraSweet Spearmine just tasted natural. Now, after like quitting for 2 weeks straight, I had a little bit, and it tastes so artificial and so sweet now. So it kind of shows you how bad it really is. All right, guys. Twitter Spaces suggested a fund to help good projects in trouble. I think CZ also suggested that, and he's doing that. As for, fund like that, basically it'll be a DAO, but it's going to be hard to determine who controls it. I guess, if you issue DAO tokens and people can stake it to decide on which projects they want to save, it's not a bad idea, but you got to get a significant amount in there. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go. Overall, more stuff coming out of SBF and FTX about some of the shady things they've done. Not good overall, and it doesn't seem like SBF is very remorseful at this point. He's like, yeah, could be worse. I don't know what's wrong with him, but we've been seeing a lot of that in the space recently with all the collapse leaders. I don't know why, but yeah. But the good news is the contagion seems to be limited so far. People are kind of, getting over this collapse, at least a little bit. Not entirely. I don't want to overplay it, but there's a little recovery. But at the very least, it does seem like the contagion is limited right now. Solana has some exposure, but that's not going to kill them. Some of the other fears around other exchanges like Crypto.com, it's limited. They're still doing well. They still have a lot of assets. So overall, the industry is reeling from this situation, and it's only going to make us stronger. The bad actors being weeded out is a good thing. So stay strong, my friends, and I'll see you guys tomorrow, 8:15 a.m. Central Standard Time. All right? Have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.